Welcome to Women at Work, The Woe Factor. I'm your host, Mary Eileen Williams, and this show is your connection to experts, tips, strategies, and more to help you make the most of this amazing time of life. Our guest today is Marcy Albaher. Marcy is the Vice President of Encore.org and the author of the very popular book, The Encore Career Handbook. She's joining us today to share how you can combine purpose, passion, and a paycheck and make a positive social change to make the world a better place all at the same time. This is a fascinating subject. I can't wait to get started. So welcome, Marcy.
And hi, Mary Eileen. Thanks for having me on your debut show.
Well, I appreciate you being my very first premier guest. There's so much to cover with this topic, though. As I mentioned, I think this is one that a lot of us are probably thinking about. However, we've often heard the term Encore Career thrown around. I know you, at your organization, actually have a very specific definition. So what actually is an Encore Career?
Right. So an Encore Career is really a second or third act for the greater good. So the organization I work for, Encore.org, which is a national nonprofit, is all about promoting, popularizing, and making it easier for more people to move into these kinds of meaningful second acts. So thinking about reinventing yourself for this new life stage in a way that's going to be both sustainable for you and meet all your personal needs, but also we're really interested in mobilizing this huge talent force as a cohort for social change and social good. We have all of this talent and experience and wisdom out there in the kind of boomer and 50 plus, whatever you want to call this kind of population. And we believe it can be an enormous force for social change that needs to be harnessed. And we are all these people who are able to do that.
Well, and who might be someone who would be a likely candidate to consider doing something like an Encore Career?
Right. So the book is aimed at people both who are in the pre-Encore years, who are thinking about what they may want to do in their next chapter, and also people who are, let's say, hitting the years we used to think of as retirement or itching for a change after 20 or 30 years of doing the same thing, or maybe somebody who had left the workforce for other pursuits, to raise a family, to be a caregiver, all of the reasons that you kind of dip out of paid work for some period of time and are looking to get back into work and want that work to matter and have meaning.
Well, and speaking of Encore Careers, I have a copy of your fabulous book right here. Really, it is a wonderful resource, I know, because I've read it myself. But I would like you, the author, to let our listeners and viewers know a little bit about the message behind the book and how you have it structured, because I think there's a very particular flow that's very helpful to the reader.
Sure. So the message of the book is that it's never too late to have an impact in the world. And that as you age, you really should be thinking about how can you apply your life experience, your professional skills, all that you have towards something that's going to help the world, but also that's going to take care of you into these new kind of bonus years we have. Everybody talks about what are these years like that used to be, right? That used to be when you were kind of winding down and receding, retiring. Look at what that means, right? It means like going away. But people aren't feeling like that anymore in this life stage. They're feeling like, wow, I have much more to give and much more to do. I'm not done yet, is a common refrain. So this is a book to kind of give you ideas and spark ideas, but also give you tools for action. So the book is designed to take you through really a process. You could do this book like a program, like a start your own Encore program. If you took the chapters from the beginning to the end, and I recommend people do that with others. Do it with a friend and start an Encore group. Find an Encore buddy so you don't go this alone. And the book is designed to meet you where you are. So if you have no idea what you want to do, well, then you're going to spend some time in the early chapters on some exercises that'll help you figure that out. And you're going to read about lots of people and what they've done. If you already know what you want to do and you're trying to figure out how to get there, well, then you'll look at the parts of the book that really speak to what you need to do to figure out those steps.
I would assume that a question that you frequently get is, well, gee, if I go in a different career direction and I start an Encore career, do I need to go back to school? Do I have to take classes? Is there special training involved? So what is your response to that?
It all depends on what you want to do, of course, right? So it's quite possible that there's something you want to do where the best way to learn it is to go out and start doing it and learn on the job and break your way in through volunteering or through some kind of adult internship of some kind, which you might have to craft on your own, or you might find something advertised just like young people do. But more and more, I find that people are going back for some kind of training, whether it's a full-on degree or immersion into education, or it's a short certificate program or an online experience of learning. So there's a whole lot of ways to learn that. The education chapter was one of my favorite to write in this book because the way we can get trained for these new careers is as varied as the things you could be doing at this life stage. And in the world of education has transformed dramatically over the last many years. So going to school, back to school, may not be anything like you remember. You might be doing something that's a hybrid of in-class and online learning. You might be using MOOCs, which are these new, mostly free online educations offered by the best universities in the country. Or you might show up at your community college for a course specifically designed for people at midlife wanting to reinvent themselves. There's so many different ways that you could find the training to take you to where you want to go.
A lot of us boomers did not plan for the future and certainly did not plan for the economic downturn. So money is an issue. And we know that a lot of careers where you're doing good for the world may not support our needs. Say about the money issue.
Yeah, so there's really hugely creative ways that people were approaching money in this life stage that weren't about depriving themselves of things, but were about thinking smart about how they used money and how they lived. So there are people who are doing all kinds of really interesting co-living arrangements where you can, if you're single and you want to move in with a friend and share expenses and have the benefit of maybe having, a place to go on the weekends and a place to live during the week, why not do that with a group of friends, almost like you did in your 20s? Like there's a very interesting way, and save money that way and pool costs on meals, and people are apartment swapping, and people are renting out parts of their homes in ways that enriches their lives rather than makes you feel like you're cutting corners. So I think it's very important to be creative and think about what's going to enrich your life and not think that being financially creative is all about, cutting out the latte every day. You know what I mean? We know some of the cliches about how you can pare down, but I was most interested in learning about the really creative ways that people are doing that.
As we age, it's just wonderful to bring in new information and get that feeling again, kind of like, as someone says, like begin a new major or start a new major, declare a new major. I love that, Marcy. I'm going to ask you one more very practical question, though, because a lot of us boomers did not plan for the future and certainly did not plan for the economic downturn. So money is an issue. And we know that a lot of careers where you're doing good for the world may not support our needs. What do you have to say about the money issue?
Sure. Okay. First thing is go out and volunteer. Give yourself away somewhere. So find something that you've always been interested in, that you care about, maybe local in your own community. Go work at the soup kitchen. Go use one of your skills to offer your services to some nonprofit that you really care about in some kind of a way. So go volunteer. Give yourself away. Go to the bookstore. In addition to reading the Encore Career Handbook, go browse the section of books about reinvention and about social change and about any subject that's really interesting you, and start reading. Start immersing in the world that you're interested in. And the third thing is get on LinkedIn if you're not. And if you are on LinkedIn, spiff up your profile, spend some time connecting with people who are doing work that interests you, follow the organizations and causes you care about, try to start managing your social profile a bit.
Well, Marcy, this has been fascinating, and I'd like you please to tell our viewers where they can go to find out more about Encore Careers and, of course, find the Encore Career Handbook.
Well, it's really easy to remember, encore.org. That's our website. You'll learn more about the book and all the other programs and work that we do. And you should join our mailing list so that you can hear about what's going on with this Encore career movement, which is much, much more than just individuals reinventing themselves. It's about people who want to make the world a better place for future generations, and it's going to be relevant not just for our generation, but for those who grow into it down the pike. I mean, we've got a lot of talent available in this world, and we want to make sure that people who want to use their talent to solve social problems know how to do it.
Well, we are going to end on that very high note. Thank you so much, Marcy, for your time and for your sharing these fabulous ideas. And I want to thank you for joining us at the very first edition of Women at Work. We want this show to be a resource for your personal reinvention, so please email us with any topics, ideas, or suggestions you might have. You can do that at work@whoanetwork.com. That's work@WHOA network.com. We look forward to hearing from you. And a little final food for thought. The difference between the two words try and triumph is just a little oomph. So make sure that you ramp up your woe factor, go after what you want, and please come back and join us next time. This is Mary Eileen Williams saying see you later. Bye-bye.